Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of my podcast. Now, what was I talking about? I'm the new R, and this episode, I don't know, I just heard a sound and that spooked me for some reason. Oh, anyway, so I wanted to start off by clearing up one major thing. From my last episode, I was kind of insinuating that Lukas Gage, who was in Companion as a companion, a robot, with Harvey Guillen, kind of insinuating that he uh, might not, like he was either in the closet or he is straight or whatever, and he's playing all these presumably queer, not presumably queer characters, but anyway, he's not. He's not straight. He's not straight. And this is me talking to somebody and about companion after the fact. And the only thing they knew about him was him getting into a a marriage and then divorce with someone after 7 months who with a guy, of course, and this guy was his hairdresser or something. And I'm like, thank you, people.com, for filling me in on this. But yeah, I'm like, ooh, okay. Definitely should have looked into that before saying that. But obviously I'm gonna um keep that up and I'll probably I'll correct myself in the description of the podcast and if I do like a short based on that segment of the podcast, I'll probably also, correct myself in that way too. I'm like, damn, okay, definitely should just look that up. The internet is right here. The World Wide Web is right here for me to utilize. And then I think I was gonna rant about because this is again my friend who had also seen Companion. They didn't necessarily like it. I'm like, that's fine. But they came out of it with these two women, I think in front of them, complaining about there being no people of color in the movie, which is false because Kat was obviously an Indian woman and Harvey Gann is Hispanic, Latino. And then they had the audacity to call Harvey Gann like ugly. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? That man is adorable. He's gorgeous, first and foremost. And I'm like, and also he's a person of fucking color. Like, are y'all blind? Like, literally, Kat is like the darkest person in the fucking movie. And literally half the cast is a person of color because there's only like fucking four people in the fucking whole thing. Like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? And I was like, don't do this to my man, Harvey Guillen. And sorry, Lucas Gage, I mean, I wasn't assuming he was straight. I just didn't know more about this person. Um, and honestly, I should just assume people are gay until they say otherwise, honestly, going forward, because sometimes that is the case. Sometimes that is the case. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so this week is gonna definitely be more about the shows I've been watching. It's definitely gonna be a update on the Will Trent episodes. I'm definitely fully caught up. I was just trying to watch one. No, actually, I was just trying to complete an episode, and then the new one came out, and I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, when I was finishing up the episode that I was watching, I was like, damn, I kind of need to watch the next episode actually. So I think I left off on the Breathe With Me episode in my last podcast, and that one, reading the description real quick, that coin one. So episode 6 and episode 7, I was finishing up episode 6. That one is called No Faith in Second Chances. Will investigates a murder with a familiar pattern, forcing him to confront his past while tracking a killer who's always one step ahead. I don't remember who the killer who's one step ahead bit was about. I'm like, maybe I should rewatch the show. No. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, okay. So 6 and 7 are connected because we are at the very beginning of this season. Um oh, I'm like literally forgetting everyone's name right now. What in the hell is going on? Angie. Angie Walt, before she is reinstated in the force, she's working a security job, and there's a guy there who he seems like a regular dude, very vanilla, I guess. I don't how do I describe him? Regular dude, mustache, whatever. He's a maintenance man at this facility as well. And he's kind of flirting with her. And this is prior to her running into Will again, but then them breaking up officially. So she's like, kind of interested, not really. And this other guy, and come to find out, he had just been released from prison for murdering his girlfriend and like cutting off her tongue or whatever. Some crazy shit. He's like adamant about not doing this. And so what's happening now is the familiar pattern is more of these killings are happening, or yeah, no, literally there are people getting murdered in a similar vein as the person who had just been released from prison, right? So now it's like, okay, so maybe he was the initial killer, or someone is going out of their fucking way to fuck this person's life up, right? Like it's a lot. And so I want to say that episode ends with how does that episode end? I forgot. I'm like, I don't know why, but the seventh episode is like more stuck in my brain than the end of episode 6. But I mean, it's fine. So season 3, episode 7. Episode 7 is about it's called Mariachi Shelley's Frankenstein. What? That's kind of wild. But anyway, so in the midst of a tropical storm, the ADP and GBI race against time to clear the name of an innocent man, uncovering shocking secrets that suggest the killer may be closer than they ever thought. And so basically what happens is this man has been put behind bars, and they discover another person killed. Specifically a witness that was coming in who had seen what the person who was kind of stalking this woman before she um died, to try to confirm if this was him or not, right? Because like, yeah, we got this guy behind bars, we gotta see if he's a killer or not. And now you have this witness coming in to confirm that he's more than likely not the killer, but she fucking turns out fucking dead in the police station. And just to sort of break down what happens in this episode, there's like a power outage, there's the tropical storm happening, and I'm like, this is so fucking unfortunate for this one fucking character. But Caroline, who is an assistant to mm, why am I not remembering the names of these people? Okay. This is definitely a newer I'm trying to do this So I'm definitely gonna have to I'm figuring out how to talk about shows, and have episodes where I'm only talking about the shows that I'm watching. And I definitely need to figure out how I want to structure this. I'm still figuring out the kinks. Anyway, so I thankfully was able to bring up the cast listing. But anyway, so Caroline is the assistant to Amanda Wagner. No, Waller. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. The actress is so pretty. Um, oh wow, she's 60. Okay. Amanda Wagner, who's played by Sanja Sean? Sean? I'm not sure how to pronounce that actually. Anyway, so so Caroline loves her job so much so that she was apparently working on her fucking birthday. And I have a whole thing about not working on my birthday. Maybe I think since I turned maybe 25, I was like, if I can do PTO, I'm just gonna have my birthday off, possibly a 3-day weekend situation. Although I think this year my birthday's on a Monday, which is like boo, boo. Yeah, it's on a Monday. I don't like that. But anyway, so Caroline gets sent off to find a file for the guy that is uh behind bars right now because they're trying to see if they can uncover anything from the original case because Angie is feeling more and more like this person is innocent. And this is before they find the witness. Uh, because they find the witness after the power gets cut off and Caroline's down in the basement going through files. Will and Angie are, is it Angie? Will and Faye. The notes I write and the notes that I don't write. Anyway, Will, no, I'm just gonna go through the episode. I can't. I don't want to not say this properly. I don't want to not say this properly, but let me do this. I'm like, who gets stuck in the elevator? I want to say it's Will and Angie because, yes, it's Will and Angie because they need to be forced to be next to each other because they haven't really been talking like that. And now he's interested in this other woman and they're kind of getting a little serious. Like in the last episode, I was like, oh, I see what this came out the week that Valentine's Day was because y'all were getting real close. Uh, but anyway, so they're stuck in the elevator when the power goes out, and I'm like, fuck, that's like the worst thing that happened. And Will feels like Angie feels drops from the ceiling, and they're like, the fuck is that? And they go up there, the ceiling of the elevator. They go up there and turns out it's the fucking witness. It's like, huh, how did the witness die? How did a witness get murdered while our main suspect is behind bars? Our suspect is not the killer. He isn't the killer. Someone has been framing him. And it's so crazy to think about someone going out of their way to frame him for 20 years or something like that. Like, he was arrested in like high school, like out of high school. Maybe he's like 18, I think, or something. Like fucking crazy. Like this is a lot. So they're trying to piece these things together. Amanda is trying to put together a surprise party for Caroline. And even though Will and Angie found his body, they're trying to keep it on hush hush because obviously whoever killed her is still in the building. And even though everybody's a cop, one of the people there is probably the killer, and we don't want people to be on high alert. And there's also people who are civilians that are like there for different reasons. And Caroline gets fucking stabbed. She gets fucking stabbed. And I'm like, on her fucking birthday? On her fucking birth? Oh my God. Worst birthday ever. Literally, like, oh my God, she should have just been at her fucking house. Um, and then there's like a whole subplot of like, oh, okay, so the person who stabbed her was definitely also the killer of the witness. And at first, they think it is I forgot who this man is. I think husband of the sister of the guy who was being framed, because he was just caught with, I think, the murder weapon and some other the files and stuff that Caroline was looking for. And he's like, "No, man, I was just down there because I was trying to steal drugs." And then he pulled out some um, oxycontin. What the fuck is it called? I don't be doing drugs. I don't know what this shit's called. Which was perfect because they got Caroline in the morgue because the closest doctor they had was the mortician down there, and the ambulance was going to be coming in an hour. And so he's like, "Fuck, my patients are all dead. I don't work on live people." And then we get sort of a backstory of Pete. Jesus. I was like, "Where are my notes?" We get sort of a backstory of Pete. He was initially a surgeon, but he was too cocky about being a surgeon. Being a surgery was that was what I'd say. So he's a little too cocky about that, and then he ended up nicking someone after being done with their surgery, but he didn't know. And then this person ended up dying of sepsis, which is so fucked. And yeah, so then he moved to being in a morgue because that was safer. And yeah, so that was pretty fucked. I was like, oh man, that's really scary and really sad that that would have happened. And I'm also like, oh, well, surgery seems like so much. Like, I want to have top surgery, but I don't want to. I don't know. State of our country is like wild. Thankfully, I'm in a state that is more affirming to like gender affirming care, trans affirming care, top surgery, and all that stuff. So I'm like, hopefully I can get the hook up with that, but we'll see. Um, I definitely I haven't worked out in a while because yes, I was working out like my chest area so that the muscles can be more defined, so that when I do eventually get top surgery, it'll be easier for them to just like slice and dice. But that causes your chest to enlarge essentially because the muscles behind the tissue are becoming more firm. So it's making my chest essentially physically bigger, which is fucking dysphoric feeling. So definitely stopped working out, but I just found a binder that is adjustable. It has adjustable straps, which seems like really cool. Because that was a big thing. Like I was growing out of binders because my back muscles were getting bigger and more defined, and binders are fucking expensive. Like I don't want to have to pay X amount of money. Like what I need to pay like $30, $40 for one binder, and I would presumably want to have at least five, but then getting a set to go through the week with them and then growing out of those and then having to buy even more. Like I don't basically I've just been not going to the gym and like ignoring my chest because that is easier. But I do like working out. I do, but we're gonna hope that this binder that is coming. I'm going on a real big tangent. Because I'm like, what the fuck was I talking about? We're gonna hope that this binder that I'm getting is gonna work out. It's adjustable. Um, I heard good reviews about it too, so we'll see. It's coming in like a week, I think. Anyway, so I'm trying to remember. I might need to go to IMDb because I'm trying to get more of a breakdown of who these characters are. because dum ba dum bum IDMV IMDb where is it? Thank you so much. But yeah, so Angie and Will are trying to piece together what's going on. Angie's looking into the case while Will is trying to figure out the initial murder scene of the person that was coming in as a witness. And once he finds that, because he's like, obviously, this person who killed her was in a rush to hide her, so this is messy. It's not his usual MO. The original murder scene uh probably has some sort of clues. And thankfully, they figured out like a find my phone situation, because she had her Apple Watch, but nothing else on her. So they used that to locate her phone, which then took Will to the actual murder scene, which is like definitely in the basement, by the garage. So, because at least when we initially saw her while she was alive, she was coming from her car. Yeah. Oh, there we go. I was like going through all of this. I'm like, I don't remember what. Not season one, season three, and episode 7. I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't need that. Okay, you're just gonna give me the names of these people. I wanted to get his job title, but that's okay. That's all right. In oh, he's in past lives. Okay, now I'm distracted by my tablet. But anyway, so trying to remember what happens. Um, with some procedurals, sometimes I'm not even trying to solve it. I'm like, I want to see them solve it, So the foreshadowing and red herrings, I'm following the story, so I do follow along and think that who the show is pushing to be the killer. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe it is him. Like I have like a quick little question, like, oh, maybe it is that person, and then, oh, maybe it's this person, stuff like that. But yeah, like it's just gonna be kind of funny to be like, yeah, so it was Freddy. Freddy's the killer. It's like, who the fuck is Freddy? Yeah, who the fuck is Freddy? Basically, what happens a few episodes ago, we're introduced to him. He's a lawyer? Same with Will's new love interest. She's a lawyer. He's brought in to be more of a neutral party because Angie being reinstated, her feeling strongly about the person who we now know is innocent. Just to be sure that she's not getting too emotional and swaying the outcomes or try to hide evidence again or something like that. So he's brought in his neutral party. And this is a few episodes ago. So they really were working towards, yeah, this is like how you know that they have a script Bible, a show Bible, which is basically a reference document used by screenwriters for information on characters, settings, and other elements of a television, film, or video game project. Usually they are updated with information on the characters after the information has been established on screen, scripts, or writer's notes. Um, so yeah, they were working like when Fred who was introduced, they're like, that's our killer. We know that, and we're gonna build up this because even in I can't remember if it could have been the beginning of this episode before the blackout, but he interacts with the sister's partner. God, damn. I'm gonna really have to like really break down the relationships of these people. Um and he's like, "Don't you remember me? We went to the same high school." And then he's like, "Oh, well, I used to have a lot of acne. And he's like, oh, yeah, maybe. And what's funny is that I think it was the same episode because later on, the guy who we now know is innocent, which he has a name. I think his name is literally John. I'm gonna confirm that real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna have to have like a breakdown of what the fuck these people are called. 'Cause I'm like, this guy, that guy. Do I sound okay? This has been really fucking funny because apparently all through the last episodes I've been doing, I might have mentioned this in the last episode too, but literally, I have been talking to the mic in the wrong direction. So all of what I was saying was like, I was lower than I needed to be, which is so fucking funny to me. I'm like, wow, so I was really straining to hear myself for no reason. Yeah, his name was John. That was me trying to hold on so that I could find information. Yeah, his name was John. So Angie talks to John and was like, "Can you remember anything from that night? Like, please, anything. Because this person who has been framing you this whole time has to have, you had to have known him during that time." And he also was like, oh, yeah, maybe this guy, Freddie. And another thing prior to prior to the witness getting killed and everything like that, big thing that kind of tipped him off to maybe John is innocent is the fact that he had a really, really good credit score, even though he was in prison that whole time, which is like obviously like identity fraud because what the fuck? There was like apartment or something that was bought in his name and a PO box written under his name all while he was behind bars. So yeah, no, that was one of the other like suspicious things that was making Angie be like, I don't think this person is guilty. And actually it was kind of funny because Freddie was so quick to push his case forward because they had found him next to a dead woman who had her fucking tongue cut off, and he's like, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. Like this man, he seemed like he was about to kill himself if he was about to go back to prison. So I know Angie was like sympathizing with him. I mean, empathizing with him of like maybe he didn't do these things and he's in. But it's like it's so crazy to think you're just being put in these situations. But no, literally, this man from his high school who was like being bullied or whatever got into his head and was like, wow, I really just got away with this and had someone else take the fall for me. And he is now in jail. So he was feeling a sense of power over what he was doing to John. And then also he became like an attorney and his acne cleared up. He still has like this eye tick, but which I didn't notice. I think I didn't notice that because Damien Haas from like Smosh and his voice acting has like an eye tick, but like you notice it at first and then all of a sudden you don't even really notice it at all anymore. Um, so I think I just did the same thing with Freddy. I was just like, oh, he blinked twice just now. Okay. And then it just doesn't bother me or whatever. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's the thing you do. Okay. Um, what was I say? But yeah, like I was like, oh shit, Freddie did it. But through all of this, I was like, on her birthday about Caroline, because like that's so fucked up. On her birthday, she hasn't even been at work, and she gets stabbed multiple times. Thankfully, at the end of it all, Amos does show up, and she is gonna be fine. But on her birthday? On her birthday? Crazy. So I watched that. And then I watched the first episode of the new season of White Lotus. I only have Max through my internet, AT&T, so I was like, yeah, let's go to HBO Max. I hate that it's now just called Max, and I also hate that Discovery is on there, but I literally don't use the thing, and I'm like, I only really have it because of my internet, so I'll use it, I guess. I'll probably use it more because A24 has a contract with HBO Max, so their movies are gonna get exclusively streamed on Max after a while. So if I wanted to rewatch, I Saw the TV Glow, that should be on there. I'm gonna check it right now, actually, because I'm like, that came out forever ago. Um, but yes, let me. Wait, what? Oh, I forgot I would actually record stuff based on. It doesn't matter because I'm gonna cut that out. Oh, I can watch Flow, which I did miss in theaters. Which is like an animated movie about like animals surviving with each other in a world without people. And I was like, oh, that seemed really sad and really cute. Oh, I can watch The Craft. Okay, I'm just like on X right now. Let's see. Yeah, I saw the TV glows on here. So if I wanted to give that a rewatch and a full breakdown, Uzumaki. Bro, I've barely been on. So Uzumaki, the Junji Ito manga turned animated turned animation is on here as well. I guess there's only 4 episodes. I heard the first episode is really good, and then the animation for it just goes down like fucking crazy after that. I do want to rewatch. Oh my god, Dream Scenario. Okay, we're gonna be on Max. Okay, it's already on my list. There's a bunch of movies that I kind of missed out on last year that I do need to catch up on. And it looks like a lot of them are on Max. So I will the next episode is gonna probably be me talking about a good amount of movies. Probably. Anyway, so White Lotus, new season. I, for some reason, thought that this was the fourth season, but that's only because I, in my head, had Jennifer Coolidge's um, storyline broken up into 2 parts, which technically, yes, but I was thinking one of it was one season, the other part was a second season, and the other things that I remember from the first season, like I thought the events of the first season was its own, and then Jennifer Coolidge had her own plot and season, which was season 2, and then for season 3, I thought that was Jennifer Coolidge in Italy, and that was the Italy season. But no, Jennifer Coolidge is only in 2 seasons. One was with her grieving in Hawaii, and then the second one was with her new husband in Italy. And basically, if you don't know what White Lotus is about, it usually takes place in a resort. It does start off with someone dying and or getting killed. Um, well, I say dying or getting killed, but it's more like we know someone died. We don't see them get killed, but more than likely this person has been murdered. And we're basically taken around the globe from what I can tell uh, through these White Lotus resorts. So the first season takes place in Hawaii, and we follow, it's a mixture of following people staying at the resort, and maybe it's like a family or like a couple. And then we're also following the people who work at the resort and their storylines. And this is how I initially got introduced to Lukas Gage because he he gets in this fucking crazy ass gay for pay. Well, not gay for pay, but well, yeah, I guess so. Because his manager wanted to fuck him and was giving him money. So and drugs. Or it was he was fucking him for drugs. One or the other. I don't really remember. And he was fucking that manager was a lot. And then so the first season was in Hawaii, and I believe the second season of White Lotus took place in Italy. I'm gonna confirm that right now. And then the third season, which we're currently in, is taking place in Thailand. And there's only one season. There's only one season. There's only one episode out. I thought they would do like the true episode thing and then week after week uploads, or like 3 episode thing and then week after week uploads, because I think Amazon does that with their shows. But nope, we're getting 1 episode a week. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, because I'm gonna keep coming back. I'm gonna keep coming back. Because I do like the writing and the characters in White Lotus. It is created by I believe his name is Mike White, who is he he made the School of Rock. There we go. I was like, my brain doesn't want to remember what this is called. Mike White. Yes, I am remembering the correct person. I had to readjust because I was sitting in the same position for too long. But anyway, yeah. So Mike White created the show. He's also an actor. I guess he was on a season of Survivor. People were talking about that, but I'm like, okay. Because people were saying like, oh, well, he always starts the show off with people on a boat, and that's like, Survivor. I'm like, okay. I also kind of like someone saying like, this is almost like how the colonizers came, on a boat. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is like a lot of rich people coming into these uh countries that, and specifically these resorts that the locals might not necessarily afford. They definitely play with that uh as an idea in the first season, specifically while they're in Hawaii. In the second season, I feel like it was more to do with mm, it was a dad son going on a trip, and the dad was cheating, I believe. They're Italian American, and they wanted to find their local family essentially. But yeah, the dad was hiring escorts, prostitutes. Uh, well, honestly, I'll say escorts because he was hiring one specifically, and then she got her friend to sort of do it too, and then so the friend isn't like necessarily a sex worker. She's just like, oh well, yeah, okay, this guy's paying money, sure, a lot of money, so much money, might as well. And then the son sort of falls for her. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. I'm thinking maybe something will happen, but no, she was like, I'm just gonna use this as an opportunity to steal even more of your money. I'm like, you know what? Work. Literally. Because whatever. And you're not gonna see these people ever again. But I remember because I think I didn't watch season 2 of White Lotus right away. And then people were memeing Jennifer Coolidge in the season, and I was like, what is happening? But there's like a meme of her being like, these gays are trying to kill me. And also with her like shooting a gun, but she looks like she's shooting it poorly. But in the context, she's actually shooting really well and actually killing people. What ends up happening with her is that she ends up getting married to this guy, but he actually not in love with her, doesn't even want to be physically intimate with her. and is using her for her money because she has a lot of money. And he is essentially friends with someone who is gay. Um, I think there's some weirdness going on too. I can't remember fully. But and Audrey Plaza's in this in that season in season two. And either way, she ends up on this yacht with a bunch of these guys, and she realizes that the man that she's been hanging out with and her husband are plotting to kill her because her husband had done this previously with someone else, I believe. I think that was the logic. Which is so fucked. It's so fucked. I'm like, damn, that's so fucked up. And I'm like, oh, but I love Jennifer Coolidge. She's fucking amazing. She's gorgeous. She was having a little renaissance. She was in doing a lot of commercials and stuff. I'm like, I keep asking questions that I don't have the answers to, and I don't want to go off the rails too much. Okay. But yes. So getting into the new season, we have we have one character that's returning, and that's Natasha Rothwell's character from the first season. And I believe her name is Belinda. She is basically doing like a work trade trip, I guess. Like she she works at the White Lotus in Hawaii, and there's like a training program that she can do in Thailand because in her what she does in Hawaii is body work essentially, like massage, therapy, meditation, all these things. And there was basically something that opened up in Thailand for her to like learn more and grow in that way. So she's like, this is a great opportunity for me to grow more. And she also was able to get her son to come out for a little bit as well. But that's not how the episode starts. The episode starts with her son. It's kind of I had to piece that together. I mean, it wasn't that hard to piece together, but yeah, her son meditating, and he's like, "Yeah, my mom's here, and it's all cute and stuff." And he's like, "I think there's gunshots. There's gunshots," and she's like, "No, no, no." The person helping doing the guided meditation is like, "No, I don't think that's what that is." He's like, "No, that's gunshots," and then there's multiple after the fact, and then they're like, "Oh shoot." Like she runs away, he's running away. But actually, no, he doesn't run away. He's like, no, I have to see if my mom's okay. I have to make sure she's okay. And then he finds a body floating in the water. And then we snap to 2 weeks prior and we meet our new cast of people. We've got Walton Goggins, which is great. He's great. He's doing that older guy much younger girlfriend situation. We have three women doing like a girls trip, midnight crisis situation. One of them is Parker Posey. I was like, okay, I do recognize who she is. I knew her name was familiar to me, but I was like, which one is she? They're all like blonde, and I was like kind of confused. And then we have Jason Isaacs. There we go. People are so funny because they're like, "Oh my God, that's Malfoy's dad." I did not recognize him without his 30-inch bust down wig. I'm like, y'all are funny. And people were being like they were doing like a hear me out with it. I'm like, people have been thirsting over this man. I think even way before the Harry Potter movies. So y'all need to relax. Also, he's doing a really good accent because he's supposed to be like from Virginia. I mean, his accent kind of goes in and out sometimes, but the person playing his wife does really well. Anyway, so Oscar Isaacs is there. It's him, his wife, and his three children. They're mainly there because his daughter is doing a thesis on Buddhism, I think. Ooh, hit the mic. And yeah. Okay, so it's the couple, the three women, the family, and that's it, actually. Oh, and then we do see Belinda, but she's kind of like shown later on. And oh, I said 2 weeks later, 2 weeks earlier. It was actually 1 week earlier. I actually wrote a lot of notes for this episode. For some reason, I didn't write that much for Will Trent. I don't know why. Well, actually, I didn't write anything about who these characters' names are or anything like that. I'm gonna definitely do that for the next pod so that I can, actually remember what the hell. Or like when I refer to people, I'm not like, it was this person, it was that person. I'm gonna go by names so it'll at least sound like I'm telling a story, I guess, because there's no visuals here. Like, yeah, I just gotta be saying names. But it's always interesting because we're introduced to the sort of dynamics of all these different characters, seeing how they're interacting with the wait staff or the hotel staff. There we go, not wait staff. And the Thailand White Lotus specifically is supposed to be like a retreat where it's also like you're not supposed to be using any sort of screens or cell phones or anything like that. And then, of course, the family, the one family, because it's only them that we're following, the family. Uh, but yeah, of course, they were like, what do you mean? I can't not be on my phone. It's for business. And they're like, no, you're supposed to be unwinding. And they had to compromise and be like, just don't show your fucking phone in the shared spaces because everyone else we've confiscated their stuff. Like, please, god damn. I thought it was interesting that the younger woman who came with Walton Goggins, she's like alone drinking and stuff, and she runs into another younger woman who has an older spouse, and they come down to the hotel to drink or eat or whatever, but they live in Thailand. And she's like, yeah, it's that bald guy over there with this colored shirt or whatever. And she was saying the locals call them LBHs, which is losers back home, because it's all these like bald white men who are there, trying to get a fucking wife or whatever. Ugh. Um, but anyway, so her husband ends up being Jennifer Coolidge's former husband from season two. I'm like, oh shit, are we gonna get more of that plot essentially? Because basically what happened is she realizes that those gays were trying to kill her. Um, I don't remember if she connected the dots that it's also her husband, but obviously he got the money that was hers because she didn't sign a fucking prenup or anything like that. Like everything would have been left to him. So fucked up. And yeah, not too much going on. I would say the only other thing of note was like with the trio of friends, two of them are successful more or less in a non-conventional sense. Like one of them is famous, the other one does like something that makes a lot of money, and then the third one has a corporate job essentially. And but it's like obvious that you can tell that they look down on that one woman. But I'm like, this seems like the kind of friendship where we're doing pleasantries, but we're actually putting you down, and you're just gonna have to put up with it. Because we're friends, right? We've known each other for years. I'm like, oh, I don't like that. Fuck that shit. If you got a problem with me, say that to my fucking face. No, but like talk out your issues. Or if or the person that's staying friends with them who's being mistreated, but not overtly mistreated. It's like that subtle mistreatment. I'm like, get better friends. You don't have to have these people in your life unless it's like a proximity to fame that's keeping you around these people. I'd say that's my only thing. It looks like it's going to be an interesting season. I'm going to be really pissed if Belinda's the one that ends up dying at the end. Um, but we don't know. That's a whole other thing with White Lotus. We don't know who actually dies. So, I mean, for both seasons, I think I was just like, is it gonna be this person? Is it gonna be this person? Whenever I would see any of the people. Um, it's like the first thing I was like, oh, I hope it's the worst person ever. I thought it was gonna be the asshole that got killed, and it wasn't. I'm not gonna give that away though, because I do remember, but we're gonna act like I don't, only because I'm not talking about that season. We're talking about the latest season. And I think that's about it. I think I was gonna also talk about a webcomic that I binge read. I mean, I'll probably talk about it briefly. It's a whole other reason why I am releasing this kind of late because instead of recording my pod, I ended up binge reading this. But it is. I read it on Webtoons, of course. It is called To Whom It No Longer Concerns. Let me get into that description. Exploited by her brother, betrayed by her sister, and killed by her husband. So ended the tragic story of Ariana Lopez, until at the moment of her death, she suddenly finds herself back in the past. Now that she has a chance to do it all over again, she enlists the help of Duke Dante Heigenberg, the most feared and desired man in the entire empire, to take revenge against her family and reclaim what's rightfully hers. But strangely, the Duke seems to want Ariana more than just for her extraordinary musical talent. And I'm like, revenge story, a forgot what it's called. Not a relapse, but a regression story. There we go. Where the person is taken back to the past. So revenge story, regression story, and a let's be in a contractual relationship and then fall in love on accident. Eat that shit up. I eat that shit up. I'm like, it has all three. It has all three. And I fucking binge read it. And I even fast passed it, which is like doing the paid thing. I'm like, oh, I've really fast passed at this. There are 9 episodes of that. Anyway, fast passed it. The revenge is amazing. Loved it. I was like, wow. I mean, she didn't kill them or anything like that. I mean, that didn't happen. But she basically the whole setting is that she writes music. She writes these pieces, everything like that. And she was always put down by her brother who was like, "Ugh, I'm gonna take this and make it better." But he would basically, it was kind of funny because people would be like, oh wow, without that unnecessarily added in trumpet, like the original is actually way more beautiful. Like we were saying, like you're unnecessary, literally to him, without telling him that. They were just saying like, oh yeah, no, that didn't need to be added in there. Actually, so fucking funny. Um, and then the sister is like a soprano, but she's like not an illegitimate child, but a lot of these webcomics are based around like nobility and like a hierarchy or whatever. And so the main character is a noble through birth, but her sister is like her half sister, so they have the same dad but not the same mom. The mom's the one that has the nobility, the dad does not. So her half sister is actually a commoner or of commoner blood or whatever. And she has a fucking complex about that shit, of course. And and her and the main character's husband was actually cheating on her with her sister. It's like, this is also fucked up. So they were putting her down, making her feel like she was untalented, stealing her work, making it worse. And the sisters are soprano, so she was singing the music that she was writing. All of these people are fucked up. And it's like, okay, they didn't. I mean, it would be great if the people we didn't like stopped existing. But the way she handled this revenge was pretty great, of like exposing her husband and her sister for cheating during her being rescued by the Duke uh from the altar, which is so funny. Um and promoting her own music, like own original music, finding her own soprano singer who is much better, like way more talented than her sister. But her sister, again, with her inferiority complex, rather than wanting more people to succeed, she's like, oh, I feel threatened by anyone who has any form of talent, so I'm going to break them before they have the confidence to even perform. Again, she's awful. And then, yeah, the brother is just untalented and also knew that their dad had planned to kill their mom and grandpa to steal their money and title. And like, that's so fucked up. But the sister couldn't remember exactly how the parents died. And this is like in the fast past episodes. I couldn't actually find any of these chapters outside of Webtoons. So I was like, I'm gonna fast pass it, I guess. Anyway, I'm eating that shit up, and that revenge is really, really good. Um, it's also kind of implied that the mom and grandpa didn't die. They died not because of a carriage accident. Like, there's some foul play there, but it's good. I ate that shit up. And now I'm gonna end it there. Um, we're doing it. I guess this is coming out on Sunday. There's no way I'm gonna get this done now. But we'll see. We'll see. We're doing it. We're doing once a week. It's kind of hard, but we got this. Um you can find me on most streaming sites, I think. And you can find the archive at NWWITA pod.com. Again, that's NWWITA pod.com for the archive. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.